What's going on, Steelers Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Steelers Culture Podcast, where we break down Pittsburgh Steelers football. This episode is powered by our friends over at BetUS Sportsbook and Casino, and we are officially 2 weeks away from the new league year beginning. March 12th is the beginning of the 2025 NFL season, guys.
Yes, sir. Though that will be the beginning of the new league year for 2025 for the NFL. The legal tampering period actually begins on March 10th, the Monday before that very Wednesday. So that means all NFL teams can be able to conduct business and agree to deals. Free agents can agree to deals to said teams. That includes our beloved Pittsburgh Steelers, as the Steelers are going to be going into free agency with a lot of money.
A lot of money, over $60 million, and that's before making any extra roster moves. And they're going to need a lot of positions to be addressed. One of them we will be discussing in this video, specifically cornerback.
And I got to tell you really quick, cornerback in free agency is loaded.
It is loaded. We have 7 names listed. Seven that we particularly like. 7 that we think the Steelers could target. We would hope that Steelers sign one of the 7 that we're going to be naming here, but they could sign someone that's not even on our list. They could sign someone that you guys think maybe they trade for a corner. Maybe, I know Jaire Alexander is getting, rumors that he might get traded from the Packers. His day as a Packer might be gone and done. So maybe the Steelers make a trade for him, being he's still young and still a top corner. Maybe they go after one of the corners that we're going to list here. But there's going to be no shortage of good corners that they can target in free agency. I'll tell you that right now. So that means that they better and they should definitely make a splash at the cornerback position.
Yeah.
And Omar Khan has made it known that, cornerback is a serious need. They have Joey Porter Jr., they got Corey Trice that the team likes, they got Beanie Bishop, and they got Ryan Watts. That's all they have on the roster.
Just 4 cornerbacks, and it doesn't particularly look good, and the cornerback position is still a worrisome position for the Steelers.
They need to address corners so bad that the past couple of years, they've really been band-aiding the situation. They've been bringing in these
veterans, these fill-in guys, and it's just been a revolving door for not just outside cornerback, but slot cornerback at the same time.
It's essentially been one-year rentals, but we're hoping that can be fixed and we can actually go out and grab one of these guys on our list or someone that's not even on our list that is definitely going to make an immediate impact for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're definitely going to have to address corner. I am very confident that they will. It's just a matter of who and how big are they going to go? It'll be very interesting, but they're definitely going to have a lot of options. 7 of those we will mention in this video, but we want to appreciate you guys for joining us on another episode of the Steelers Culture Podcast. Feel free to hit that like, comment, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. And, of course, you guys know our socials are down in the ticker below. That's for X, Instagram, and TikTok. We're also on Spotify. The link to the Spotify is in the description box below if you guys want to listen to the audio version of this podcast. But we greatly appreciate you guys for tuning into the channel, and we greatly appreciate BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring with us on another video. Guys, as you see, man, these are just a little bit of all the NFL future odds that they have for all of the offseason, and these will be updated as the offseason goes. So certain free agents in the NFL specials pool, they will be added for which team and what the team odds are going to be that they could sign for. Maybe players are going to be traded, guys like Kupp, maybe Stafford, maybe Adebo Samuel. I'm sure Jaire Alexander is going to be on there soon. They're going to have draft pools. They got stuff for the combine, as you guys see, MVP. So any other wagers that you guys would like to place during the NFL offseason, or if you guys want baseball, basketball, ice hockey, you want to do all of that, they have all that there for you for all your sports betting needs, man. So shout out to BetUS, and when going to BetUS.com to sign up, take advantage of a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 and 125% on your following 2 deposits using that promo code YouTube150 to sign up at BetUS.com. If you guys are looking for a new sportsbook for the NFL next season or for the remainder of the other leagues. So I want to thank BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring with us on this video. Just please gamble responsibly. Now, the cornerback position. We all know corner is a serious need. It's been a serious need for a very long time. When I mean a very long time, I'm talking 2 decades.
Yeah, I mean, to be real, I've lost count. It's just been that long.
At least, maybe I'm exaggerating, but at least since Ike Taylor left, we haven't really had any good corners outside of the Joe Hayden and Steven Nelson days, and that didn't last very long.
No, we haven't had any longevity at the cornerback position.
No. We're hoping that the Steelers can strike with Joey Porter Jr. and he can still develop into a very nice lockdown number one. He just needs to be a lot less handsy. He needs to be better with his penalties. That is for sure. That's the one thing that he needs to fix from his game first and foremost. And then, it's all coaching. It's all mental for JPJ. But we need someone opposite of him. Not only opposite of him, we need somebody in the slot. Now, I know a lot of you guys like Beanie. I like Beanie. I just think that we ought to bring in some competition. And I think Beanie could be a very solid rotational guy at this stage right now before maybe seeing some time as a dime backer or maybe seeing him as an emergency guy in nickel situations. I just think the Steelers they got to improve the cornerback position drastically because corner has been a serious need. We don't have any good cover corners right now.
No, we don't have a lot of bodies at the cornerback position anyway, as far as outside and slot depth. So when it comes to the cornerback position in free agency, you can never have too many options and too many bodies to just add upon to your defensive back room.
And like we mentioned, the Steelers are going to have a lot of dough to be playing with. The first cornerback on our list is the top dog, DJ Reed.
Of the New York Jets.
Now, yes, he's undersized. He's 5'9", 190. But he sure as hell don't play like it.
No. And for that size, you think that he's a prototypical nickel cornerback? Absolutely not. He is 100% outside cornerback. He was that way for Seattle. He was that way for the Jets. And I'll tell you what, ever since he signed with the New York Jets just 3 years ago, he has been one of the standout cornerbacks throughout the entire NFL.
I'd argue he's been one of the more consistent corners in the past 3 seasons. Along, opposite of Sauce Gardner, which is, a hell of a duo. There's a reason that they're highly praised. And a big reason for that is because of how good DJ Reed is. He has that inside flexibility, but that goes to show you DJ Reed for his size, very impressive. Although undersized, yes, but he plays at a consistent level. He plays tough. He plays physical. He's a very good man-to-man guy. He's strong in coverage. He's someone the Steelers should definitely have on their radar for sure.
Yeah.
The intensity, the experience, the leadership, and the consistent level of play that he brings to the table is something the Steelers should absolutely be eyeing.
Yeah. And considering that, the Jets were an overhyped team, and obviously they were not overall very good team, a very good coach team at all, not very good.
They're the Jets.
They still went up against some top-level competition. And DJ Reed, especially since we're talking about him, went up against some of the best in the NFL, some of the best wide receivers. And he has just held his own every time. He has just been a standout. He's a prototypical lockdown cornerback. He is a guy that can still do it. Now, he is 28 years old, so obviously when it comes to cornerbacks kind of getting up there in age, it is a worrisome kind of thing there when it comes to the position. But when it comes to DJ Reed, that doesn't really concern me because he's still playing at a high level, even at his age.
Agreed. And I'm sure he's going to cash even bigger, seeing how, his previous contract with the Jets, and now he's estimated around $15 million. I feel like that's very worth it. $15 million, 3-year contract. I think that's very rich for DJ Reed. I'm sure he's going to have one hell of a market.
That's a very doable contract for someone, a guy of DJ Reed's caliber and ability. That's physical, intense, and he's a guy that's not a man that's going to get a lot of turnovers or exactly a ball hawk. But I don't really ask for that. What I ask is just a lockdown guy.
Right.
And that's what we're hoping that JPJ is, but we don't exactly have one on the roster right now, so to speak. Somebody not consistently. Somebody to bring in like DJ Reed to bring that consistent lockdown ability. That should be somebody that the Steelers got to have on their radar.
Absolutely. Going from one really good corner to another, man. Charvarius Ward of the 49ers. He's going to be hitting the market. He himself is one of the top corners in the free agency market. He will definitely be having a lot of teams calling his phone, or his agent is going to be telling them about a lot of teams hitting him up or trying to hit him up. He's estimated around $15.5 million. I think that's very deserving. He's 28 as well. Much more better outside size, 6'1", about 200. So exactly what you look for. And this guy is just nasty in man coverage. Very physical, very intense. And he's been very underrated the past couple of years with the 49ers. He's been a big reason why that Niners defense has stood out for so long.
Yeah, just holding it down as that cornerback one for them over the past 3 years. He was a former Chief, being a part of that Super Bowl team that the Chiefs are, then going to another Super Bowl capable team and the 49ers and just, showcasing his potential and showcasing his, top-notch cornerback ability. I mean, 2023 was without a doubt his best season. He got a Pro Bowl recognition and was, even, recognized as an all-pro for the second team.
Yeah, I think he had, 5 interceptions and 23 passes defended in that year?
Which obviously is a career high, and that led the league that year.
And that goes to show you, if he can play great football as a Chief and then a Niner, 2 Super Bowl favorite teams almost every single season at this stage, that's a testament to how good he is and how he can go up against some of the best in the league. And at this stage, he can be an incredible cornerback too. They should definitely have him on their radar because he is someone that will change the trajectory, or he is someone that will transform the secondary to a positive degree. I think Charvarius Ward should be someone they should definitely be eyeing. I would say probably 2 of the top corners in the free agency market are Ward and or Reed. Those are 2 guys that the Steelers should be hitting up every day as much as they can, trying to get them locked up on a contract.
Yeah.
Those are 2 guys they need to target. If they're really pressing about upgrading the cornerback position, if they're trying to get some playmakers, if they're trying to get some lockdown guys that are physical and coverage, those are 2 of the best probably in the free agency market to do so. The Steelers should definitely be ringing up their phones and going out and making a significant splash. I think Reed or Ward would be phenomenal additions.
2 of the top cornerbacks in free agency that should be on the Steelers' radar. But if they were to miss out on both individuals, like we stated earlier, it is a very loaded cornerback group in free agency. So the next guy that we're going to bring up on this list that could be on the Steelers' radar is Minnesota Viking Byron Murphy.
Now, this guy might be one of the more expensive, as he's aiming to get $22 million a season. So if they want to make a legitimate splash and get a home run hitter in free agency, this is the guy. $22 million. Yes, it's a little expensive for the cornerback market, but I mean, every market's kind of outrageous right now. But 27 years old, he's got great outside size with inside versatility at the same time. He was an incredible fit for Brian Flores' system. He came away with 6 interceptions last year. 6 interceptions, 14 passes defended. This guy has been around the league for a while. In fact, he's a very familiar name to us because we were so high on him coming out of Washington during his draft class. We wanted this guy.
Yeah.
And now seeing what he's done in his career as a Cardinal, and now his past 2 years as a Viking, now he's hitting the open market. The Steelers should definitely be trying to get this guy in the black and gold.
Yeah. And Omar Khan, he was at the Combine and he was asked about, what can he do about, making improvements to the team? He said, we need playmakers.
Well, this guy is one of the biggest playmakers at the cornerback position last season.
Yeah. I mean, he got a Pro Bowl recognition. He went to his first Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
At 27 years old, he's still particularly young for his position. He stood out big time for that Vikings defense over the past 2 years. Inside and outside versatility, physicality, just a ball hawk. He's got an eye for the football. I mean, if they really want to make a splash in a big play and have a true playmaker once again in the secondary, you can't ask for anybody better than Byron Murphy.
Yeah, if they really want to make a massive splash, they want to go outside their bubble, they want to make another crazy move, Byron Murphy is one of the bigger names that they can get. He's still young. He's in his prime. He's a playmaker. He has the versatility the Steelers like. And if Tell Austin or Mike Tomlin actually want to get creative and use their playmakers and use them along the defense and move people around like they should, Byron Murphy is the tool. And he would drastically improve this secondary for sure. He's the ball hawk, and he's a good cover guy. He's strong in the run game. You saw what he did with Brian Flores' system. Let's bring him into the Pittsburgh Steelers. In fact, Byron Murphy is more of my real dream pickup if it comes to the cornerback position. There's a lot of good names here. Like we mentioned Reed and Ward already, but Murphy's probably like my dream pickup, if I'm going to be honest with you. You talk about it like a complete package corner, Murphy's the guy. We'll see if the Steelers entertain. We'll see what his market is. I'm surprised the Vikings didn't franchise tag him. I thought they would have. That doesn't entirely rule out that he won't return as a Viking, but he's definitely going to command the market. I'm hoping the Steelers are going to be all eyes or all ears in terms of trying to get Murphy into Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Next guy, Carlton Davis.
Of the Detroit Lions.
Now, most of these corners we've listed are very underrated, but Carlton Davis has always been underrated. Even when his days with the Tampa Bay Bucks, when he won the Super Bowl, he was one of their standout secondary guys. Carlton Davis, he does have injury concerns because he has never, ever had a healthy season. He's averaged to miss 4 games a year. But this guy is an excellent corner. He can do everything you ask him to.
Yeah, and he was the upgrade that Detroit was absolutely looking for and hoping for, going from Cameron Sutton to Carlton Davis. So maybe the Steelers can kind of, take a page out of Dan Campbell and Detroit's playbook if you catch my drift.
I wish.
Carlton Davis, he's been in the league for 7 years, long time, Tampa Bay, but his first year with Detroit was very impressive, until he suffered that broken jaw in the Week 15 game against Buffalo, I believe. The guy was a standout. The guy was just a, sticky cover corner with lengthy arms and just physicality and just an eye for the ball. Carlton Davis has been one of the more underrated cornerbacks throughout the entire NFL since he came into the league. And though he is 28 years old, he's still got great frame, 6'1", 205 pounds. The guy just has that prototypical outside cornerback frame and playing ability and something that the Steelers, could use.
He has the physicality that we need. I want the Steelers to run a lot more man coverage, and the Lions run a ton of man coverage. And this guy played exceptional football while being a big help in their rushing defense. So I think Carlton Davis would be a perfect fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, you want him to do everything. You want him to fit that Steeler mold at the cornerback position, the physicality, the nastiness, the help in the run game, the sticky coverage. Carlton Davis would be another good fit, in my opinion.
The only thing about him is, like you mentioned, the injuries. It is a worrisome thing, as the Steelers have always dealt with injuries every year. Then again, every other team does. But, you can't deny the talent that Davis brings.
No, especially since he has only allowed 5 touchdowns in man coverage since 2020.
That is pretty impressive.
Very impressive. And he's probably going to command the market around $15 million as well. So he's someone that they could bring in. He's still only 28 years old. I think that's a very good option for the Steelers. Carlton Davis would be another very good addition. A lot of these would. This just goes to show you how stacked corner is.
Yeah, we just went down 4 cornerbacks. All the names so far are still very good.
Yes.
We still got a couple left to go. Let's just keep going down the list. Going from Davis, here we are going to another junior, and Asante Samuel Jr.
Yeah, we already have Joey Porter's kid. Why not get Asante Samuel's kid and pair those two together? Why not, right?
The junior duo, huh? Imagine that.
I can get used to that.
But listen, Asante Samuel, he was a guy that was heavily on the Steelers' radar throughout his draft process. The Steelers went to his pro day. He had a verbal interview with Tomlin and the Steelers about that. They brought him in for a visit and all that stuff. He's got the bloodlines because he is Asante Samuel's kid and whatnot.
And he's kind of like a DJ Reed in a way. He may not be as good of a tackler. He may not be as great in coverage, but undersized, but plays a lot stronger as an outside guy. Like, he can switch inside if he has to, but he's always played outside corner on that left side for the Chargers. So this guy plays bigger than what his frame shows. Now, my only concern with Asante Samuel is he can't tackle. He has tackling issues.
Big time.
The amount of times I've seen Chargers fans complain that this guy can't tackle is more than I like to admit. But the guy can cover. This guy's a playmaker. He has great ball skills when the ball is in the air. He's a very sticky guy. And I think he'd be a cheap option, being that, unfortunately, he ended last season with an injury. He only played, I think, 4 games last year.
Yeah, and seeing what the Chargers did in Harbaugh's first year as Chargers head coach, really, makes you guess and wonder, where Samuel's market would really be if he never got injured.
Exactly.
How far that defense really would have carried him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Samuel, would have been a huge factor of that, a big component of that. And Samuel is still very young at that. He's still very talented. The tackling is a bit of a red flag. It's a bit of an issue. I've seen several of the Steelers defensive backs miss tackles, but I can't deny the guy's ability. I can't deny the guy's pedigree, his youth, his versatility, and experience.
Well, not just that, exactly, the experience. He's a multi-year starter as an outside guy. He's only 25 years old, so he's one of the younger free agent corners that the Steelers could go after and keep him for a while. And before 2020, before he was, hurt for the majority of last season, every single season leading up to that, he had 2 picks in each year and 10 passes defended in every single year leading up to 2020 or 2024. So this guy is a serious playmaker. He is. And I think he'd be a little cheaper, being that, unfortunately, he ended last season with an injury.
Yeah.
I think it was a shoulder injury. So, but you want to bring him in, someone that's a good cover corner, starting experience. I know his tackling needs work, but, this guy fits everything that the Steelers want and just an NFL player. some physicality to him in man coverage. He has the bloodlines. He has an in and out versatility. Tomlin loved him. He had a formal meeting with him at his pro day years ago. They brought him in for a top 30 visit. I think the interest is going to be there for the Steelers. And I honestly wouldn't hate an addition like Asante Samuel. I think this guy is a very solid corner.
Yeah.
So Asante Samuel is another good option for the Steelers, man. A very underrated option, in my opinion, that the Steelers could swoop in and swoop under, maybe get him cheap, get a good 2-3 year deal done for sure. I would very much like the idea of Asante Samuel pairing with Joey Porter Jr.
Yeah.
The next one we're going to go down is former Saints corner. I believe a former Saints 3rd round pick, Paulson Adebo. Now, he, like Samuel Jr., he unfortunately ended last season with a season-ending injury.
Yeah, broken femur.
That sucks. So,
and I'll tell you what, before he went down with injury, I mean, he was on par to have a epic breakout year.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been a very solid corner. But I think he still had, 3 interceptions in only 7 games played last year?
As well as 10 passes defended. Now, to put that in perspective, that was in 7 games last year before he went down with injury. The year before that, 2023, he had played in 15 games, started all of them, had 18 passes defended and 4 interceptions.
Yeah. So 28 passes defended the last 2 years. Now, yes, there are some injury concerns with him having a broken femur last year. That could also bring down his market value. He could be another very young, cheap option as he's still very young. He's missed, 16 games the last couple seasons? But still, only 25 years old. I think it'd be a very underrated signing with his prime years still ahead of him.
Yeah.
He's always been a solid guy for the Saints. He's another guy like Samuel with tons of starting experience. He's strong at the line. I think his tackling is a lot better than Samuel. So he's another one that the Steelers should definitely have on their radar. He's someone that the Steelers brought in for a top 30 visit as well during that draft process, during that same draft class.
Yeah.
So those are 2 guys. Those are 2 very young talents that the Steelers could bring in that they are familiar with in terms of the draft process 4 years ago. But those are guys that are still young, tons of starting experience, and their market's going to be cheaper, unfortunately, due to their season-ending injuries. But I'm not going to be too worried about the injuries because when they're healthy, they're very, very solid corners.
Yeah, the tape just sticks out.
And although, we want playmakers, we want the best of the best, and believe me, I would prefer the 4 names we listed before these 2, but all we need is someone that's going to do their job perfectly as cornerback too. And if they can't land any of the big fish, I'll gladly take a Samuel or a Adebo any day.
I mean, Samuel's a playmaker in his own right. Adebo is a playmaker in his own right. 3 interceptions in 7 games.
And if you want to get younger at the cornerback position without worrying about the potential aging of the other guys, they're only 25 years old.
Yeah, and these guys are no stranger to having to fill the void of cornerback 1, especially Adebo, considering that Lattimore had several injuries, before his exit from New Orleans till he got traded to Washington. So Adebo had, the responsibility of holding down the number 1 cornerback position, playing lockdown.
But they wouldn't have to be the cornerback 1, man. That would be JPJ.
Yeah.
So you take the responsibility and make them the cornerback 2. I really like those 2 as potential options if they can't land any of the bigger guys. I would be very, very close. I hope the Steelers keep a very close eye on those 2 guys, being that they're young, 4-year starters for their respective teams, and prime years ahead of them. And very, very cheap markets at the same time. I could definitely see that being a very Steelers-like move, for sure. And the last name we're going to mention here,
to finish off,
Nate Hobbs
of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Now, if they want a predominant slot guy, this is the guy. Nate Hobbs, what a find for the Raiders. And the Raiders don't have a ton of them.
No.
They got Max Crosby. They got Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, Nate Hobbs. I might be missing a couple others.
Robert Spillane. Though he's a free agent. I wouldn't expect him to leave.
No. But, the Raiders don't have a lot of playmakers. The Raiders don't have a lot to be proud of. Nate Hobbs is one of them, and he's going to be hitting the market. He likes Samuel and Adebo, only 25 years old and tons of starting experience.
Yeah. And for his frame, he's 6'1", 195. Now, he is capable of moving outside and playing outside if need be, if in case for any sub packages or emergency situations. But this guy, for his size, to be a nickel guy, a slot guy, I mean, you can't ask for better size than that.
That is what we call a power slot.
Yes. And that's something that the Steelers have not had, and Lord knows how long. Honestly, they haven't had a true and capable long-term slot cornerback since Mike Hilton.
That wasn't even long term, though. They kept tendering him.
Yeah. So they didn't even have a long-term plan at that. But Mike Hilton just basically kept a hold and locked down that position as long as he was here.
And they've had rotating doors of Arthur Millette and Shannon Sullivan. Last year, Beanie had a very good season, but Beanie is the only slot corner on the roster. We need extra bodies, and we need an upgrade. Beanie can rotate if he has to. Beanie can play dime if he has to. But I would bring in Nate Hobbs, being that his market is going to be fairly cheap. And he's a multi-year starter as well. He's a playmaker in the slot. He's someone that we need to bring in that can do it all at the same time.
Yeah, and he's a guy that would not break the bank either. At least I don't believe so. Because
No.
I believe he is estimated, $3 million annually, so it's not even that bad. And if the Steelers were to get a guy like Nate Hobbs to fill the nickel position, that takes one position off the draft needs, to which the Steelers absolutely need to do.
It definitely does. Now, the one thing with Hobbs, much like Samuel, much like Adebo, they do have injury concerns. He didn't play a lot of games last year. So keep that in mind. That could drive down his market value just a little bit. There are some injury concerns, which would make Beanie a very good backup in case of any situation.
Yeah.
But I would still bring in a guy like Nate Hobbs because, yeah, you bring in a guy like Nate Hobbs, you solidify your day one starting slot corner. That doesn't entirely take away the possibility of going corner very early. And corner's pretty stacked. Corner is pretty deep in this draft class.
Yeah, it is.
And the Steelers really like Corey Trice. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to make him the cornerback too. I wouldn't. And Omar Khan has kind of already hinted that they won't, because he said in the combine presser, he said that they like Corey, but availability is the best ability.
Durability at that, too.
Durability. And, you know, if that ain't there, if that's not showcased, then corner's going to be a need that they're going to have to address. So it's
there you go.
That's kind of already saying, like, yeah, we like Corey, but he hasn't shown us he's been healthy enough, so we're still going to address corner. So whether that's outside, whether that's a slot option, Steelers have a ton of options in free agency. But Nate Hobbs, you know, for a slot guy, he's probably one of the better guys that they can go after for sure.
He's a guy that has just been moved around throughout that secondary. He's even, played a lot of box snaps at that too. So if they ever want to explore that option, I mean, Nate Hobbs is a do-it-all type of player that's physical, that is just a guy that can hold it down. Very good in the run defense as well. And another thing to note as well is he does have ties to new Steelers defensive back coach Gerald Alexander. Because Gerald Alexander, though he was the safeties coach for the Raiders, I mean, they still have ties, with them being part of the Raiders last year, and the fact that Alexander has been brought back to be the new defensive backs coach. I mean, get them back together and see what Alexander can do with a guy like Nate Hobbs and his, ability and his potential.
I mean, they were in the same defensive back room, so, I mean, they would definitely bring that connection over to Pittsburgh. That's not a bad option. That's a good link there.
And whatever position that Alexander has held down as far as coaching goes, I mean, I honestly made that position a lot better.
Yeah.
So in order, to bring a guy like Nate Hobbs in to help out the slot position, and you got Nate Hobbs and Beanie Bishop as the two slot options, the nickel options, and you just have them rotate and lock down that position for a couple years down the line. I mean, you can't get better than that.
And the Steelers love their in-and-out versatility. Nate Hobbs would be your starting nickel guy. He would be your starting slot corner. But in case of emergency, you got to bounce him outside, then you could do that. But that's only in emergency options only. But they love that versatility, and Nate Hobbs brings that. Out of all the names on our list, there's two dudes that bring that type of versatility, that bring that movement. That is Hobbs and that is Murphy. So those are two guys the Steelers should definitely be targeting. I would hope that either of these names, really, and either of these seven are going to be seeing their time in the black and gold in hopefully 2 weeks' time.
I mean, that's 7 names right there that I'm sure will be on the Steelers' radar. I'm sure Khan and company will do their due diligence and look into them. I mean, how can you not? These are some of the top free agents out there at their respective positions, at where they have played. They have showcased impact, potential, playmaking ability to a degree, and they need guys in the cornerback room desperately.
Desperately. So these are just some of the better names that we found on the free agency market that we hope that the Steelers will look at. Corner is very stacked when it comes to the free agency market. There's going to be no shortage of names that they could target. I know another name, I'm not going to put him on the list, but I'll mention him, is Eric Stokes, former first-round pick for Green Bay. He's still young as well. Maybe the Steelers entertain him since they looked into him during his draft process 4 years ago, same draft class as Samuel and Adebo. Stokes is someone I'm not exactly a fan of, but maybe the Steelers look their way because of that prior experience. But that's only like a very last resort sort of situation. But
and that's what it should be.
But that goes to show you just there's so many corners on the list.
Yeah.
But the 7 that we listed are some of our favorites. 7 that we listed are the better names. And the top 4 are Murphy, in no particular order, Murphy, Ward, Reed, and Carlton Davis.
Yes.
I would hope that one of those 4 become a Steeler. But if not, I'll be very happy with Hobbs, Samuel, or
Adebo.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, either way, the Steelers hopefully are knocking on either of these guys' doors and giving them a contract, giving them the bag. Because corner's a serious need. They need to adjust it. They need to make a splash in any way possible. And I'm very confident that they will. And Omar Khan has said that their approach in free agency is going to be exactly what they've done the past 2 years.
As it should be.
Which is aggressive, which is getting moves done fast. Because I remember they signed Patrick Queen right before the league year started. They signed Wilson before the league year started. They signed a lot of free agents before the league year started. So once that legal tampering period opens, they're making moves, they're making deals, and cornerback should be one of the first that they target. Any of these names I'll be happy with, and I would consider them home run additions for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like Omar Khan, man, he's aggressive. He has indicated in free agency and the draft that he's aggressive. He's got to do it again. He's got to keep it up.
And I think no matter where they go with corner, where they get one of the top dogs or where they get a slot guy, it doesn't rule out corner in the draft. If they get one of the top dogs, it's going to postpone it. Maybe they get a slot corner in the draft. If they get a slot corner, it doesn't exactly postpone a starting outside guy, but perhaps that will tell us that they're going to go corner a little earlier. But free agency will tell us all. Free agency tells the story for the draft.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the Steelers do, but I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited what they're going to do, what they're going to attempt, who they could bring in. But cornerback has to be one of those that they bring in. It really has to be. They have a ton of other needs that they need to bring in: defensive line, receiver, which we will make separate videos about for sure. Make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But I don't expect them to address everything. I don't. But if there's one I want them to address, it is corner, because we need leadership, we need experience, and we need someone that's going to make an immediate impact. Trying to develop another guy, I don't know. We already suck at drafting corners. We suck at developing corners anyway. So bring in a legitimate, great veteran that's going to make an impact, that's going to transform the secondary, and while helping build the young guys like a JPJ, like a Corey Trice, like a Ryan Watts, like a Beanie Bishop, like a potential rookie. I think that's the mission statement for free agency. That's the mission statement for cornerback specifically. But let us know your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. Is there any other names that we didn't list that you guys would hope that the Steelers target? Maybe a potential trade guy. Maybe someone that we didn't have on the list. Or any of these guys that you would prefer. Let us know down in the comments below. But we appreciate you guys watching. These are just 7 of many other corners that we hope the Steelers target. We'll see what happens, man. But as always, appreciate you guys for watching. If you like what you saw, hit that like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. We would greatly appreciate it. And we appreciate BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring with us on this video. Again, check them out if you guys are looking for a new sportsbook for the next NFL season or for the remainder of the NBA and NHL or MLB seasons. When signing up, use that 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 and 125% on your following 2 deposits using the promo code YouTube150 when signing up at betus.com today. So shout out to them for sponsoring with us as always. Shout out to you guys for tuning in. See you in the next one. Here we go, Steelers.
And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace!